Carrie is going to start with how to create a gradebook.
Right. So you will have access to the presentation, and we also should have time for questions. So, interject as we go along. So once you sign into AERIES, and we will kind of be switching back and forth in between the slide presentation and the application. So just to let you know. So what you do is you, from your home screen, where you sign into AERIES like you take attendance. If you scroll down just a little bit, there's an option that says Gradebook. And then if you click on that, then it'll take you to the next screen that it'll say Add Gradebook. And again, we'll look at that in just a moment. So once you click on Add a Gradebook, then you'll get this screen. And what you'll want to do is select a term. So right now we're in trimester 2. And then you'll need to associate your students. So this is the one box that you check. And then you'll want to name your gradebook. So whatever you want to call that. If you are, going by your separate grade books for each subject, you would have like a math class, science, history, whatever you want to do there as far as the name. And then make sure on the bottom you select Save. And then you'll see along the top that you're going to have some options or some tabs, and then you want to click on Options. And most of these, which is just a couple of these, are already selected for you. You just want to double check that those are selected. So apply the scores immediately should already be checked, but you'll see that you can turn it on or off, and also display your final marks. This will be in the parent portal. So that's where that needs to be checked. And then I usually like to click on Hide Drop Students, but that's just my selection. And then again, there's tabs along the top. So the next one that you would click on is Categories. And you have to have at least one, but usually people want to have more, but I mean, that's again, personal choice. But so you just select add a new category, and then you type in what it is. So if this is your math class gradebook, then you may want to have like a classwork, an assessment or tests, participation, that kind of thing. So you would select add new category and just type in the name. And then again, click Save. So once you have those categories in, you can also color code them. That's again a choice. It's optional because on the top you'll see when we get into the application that the name, classwork, and quizzes and tests doesn't show up. It'll just have the color code, so you can have that differentiation if you like that. And then you can also, you have the choice, this is optional as well, to weight your scores. So if you wanted to make classwork worth more than tests, you can do that there. And then you would select Manage Students. So again, that's just another tab going across. So select Manage Students, and then you'll get this pop-up that it'll say Add Students, Drop Students. You would select Add Students, and then this will come up, and on the very bottom, you would say Add All Students, and then it just takes a moment to process. Then we also want to link our Google Classroom up to our gradebook. And so to do that, from back to your home screen again, where you started, you'll have something that looks like this. On the very top, it'll say Class Summary. So if you're not seeing anything below Class Summary, you just click on this little caret and you'll get your class pop up right underneath it. You want to click Add Website. And then this box will pop up. You probably already have your Google Classroom created. So what you want to click on is Link. And then that will link up your Google Classroom with your gradebook. All right, so let's go into the application. So only thing I clicked on so far, I went to AERIES. Again, your same place that you go for taking attendance. And then I scroll down to where it says Gradebook. So this is the screen that you should be on, and it should just have this top part probably, if you don't have a Gradebook set up yet. There are 3 different ways to look at this section. I like it on tables, and so it looks like this, but you have other ways. You can have it as a list. You could have it as tiles. So once you're to this screen, what you want to do is click Add Gradebook. And this is going to be trimester 2. You only have one choice here for the section of your students. But you do need to click on that. And then this is where you put in the name. So put in the name here, whatever you want to call your gradebook. And then don't forget to click Save. Which it doesn't look like I did. Okay, so let me see what I did. So once you click Save, you'll still be on this same screen. You do have the options, or the tabs, excuse me, across the top. So click on Options. And this is just to check, make sure that you have these 2 items selected, and they should be already selected. So again, I like to have the hide drop students, but that's just my choice. There's no save on this screen. So then for categories here, you would type in add, or click on add new category, and you would type in whatever you want your categories to be. I just have classwork, assessment, and participation, so I just had a few there. But you have to have at least one, but you can have more. And then for color coding, again, if you want to have that, you can have that choice as well. And click Save. And then I'm going to give you a chance to go over this as well. So the last thing you want to do is click on Manage Students, that tab. And then you'll have a pop-up over here that says Add Students. And then you will click on the bottom, and all of your students will be populated. Okay, so go ahead and see if you can create a gradebook if you have not done that already. If you have, go ahead and just make another one, and we'll go through the steps. We want to spend more time here on adding assignments. So once we have our gradebook created, the main reason why we have our gradebook is to have assignments. And once we have our assignments, eventually we get to where we can put them over to our progress reports really easily, and our report cards eventually, we know when we get to that point. So that's the whole reason why to have a gradebook, just make it easier on yourself. Of course, I've been teaching for, over 20 years. So once upon a time, I used paper and pencil myself. So, things have come a long way since 1996. So anyway, so creating an assignment, what you want to do is when you're in your gradebook, again, and I'll show where we are in the application. So you have a tab that says assignments. You click on that, and then there's one that says add assignment. And then again, there's 3 ways to kind of look at your gradebooks. There's the tile view, the list view, and the table view. So you can also enter add assignment from that as well, just so you won't get confused if you like a different way to look at that. So once you click add assignments, you'll get this screen will pop up. It'll automatically start with number 1. It'll number them as you go along. You'll have your name here. Description is optional, depending on how much detail you want to put in the name. It's a good idea to have a little bit of detail just so you can go back, because you'll end up having, 10, 20 assignments or more. So, if the student needed to make up work or they were, absent or whatever the case may be. Sorry. You also want to have summative checked. And if you click summative versus formative, because there is 2 choices, summative will make sure that you have all of the assignments will go into the progress report as well as the report card. So all the grades that are there will match up from your Google Classroom to the gradebook to progress reports to report cards. So make sure this says summative. And then your categories, whichever category that you want this particular assignment to be. Again, you need to have at least 1 category, but you can have more than 1. So if you have more than 1, you would select this drop down and pick the one that it is. You can enter the date manually, or there's a little calendar here that you can select. And then for the number correct and the number possible, say there was 4 questions on your little quiz or your exit ticket or whatever it is that you were doing, but each one is worth 5 points. So you would have 4 here, but the points possible would be 20. Oops, went too fast. Then something very important, you want to make sure that you add standard. So it's just a little bit farther down, and we'll look at that in just a moment. So make sure you add the standard. So in AERIES, the standard is more of the subject. So if this was a math assignment, you would click add standard, and then you would click on math and click OK. So standard is not the standard that we're used to in as 0.45, whatever the case is. It's not that kind of Common Core State standard. It's the AERIES calls it a standard, but it's the subject. Once you click OK, then it'll take you back, and then you have to click either save and close if you're finished with just the 1 assignment you were putting in, or save and add another one. Excuse me. Okay, so let's go back here. So I'm still here in the gradebook that I just made. And then right here, I can click add assignment or assignments, and then click add assignment from here. So again, it'll start with number 1, and you can make a different number if you want to. And then for the name, you can call this whatever you want to call this. Make sure this says summative, and then the category, whatever category that it happens to be. And then the date, it'll automatically pop up with today's date, but you can change that. Again, you can just type it in, or you can use the calendar. And again, your number possible. Scrolling down just a little bit. If you want this to show visible in the portal, you would click that on. You may want to wait till you're finished scoring this, but it's not necessary. So the score won't show up until you say, that the score is in. So you can click on this now, so you don't have to worry about it later. And then here, add standard. So you can see once you click that, what shows up here are just the subject. It's not, or the category. It's not like the Common Core State standards. So this particular one was a math assignment. And then on the bottom, you click OK. And then if you're finished, you're not putting any more assignments in, you would click save and close. So from here, if you were on your dashboard, you can also click add assignment here. So go ahead and try that, put one assignment in or maybe two. So go ahead and try that now. Now we're going to be talking about importing, adding grades. So you can put in grades manually, or you can import them from Google Classroom. I'm sorry. So remember in Google Classroom, before you import, you want to make sure that your assignment has a due date in Google Classroom. It's graded and it's returned to your students. So those three things have to happen first, otherwise it kind of messes up. And so you don't want to have that happen because it's just more work. So you're trying to make this less work. So once you have your assignment in your AERIES, you just had what we just did, put your assignment. This has happened already in Google Classroom. Now you can click on import from Google, and I'll show you where this is. And then once you click on this button, your assignments will pop up from your Google Classroom. And then you select that one, whichever one it is, and then you select confirm. And as I said, you can also enter scores manually. So say you already had some kind of just a little, exit ticket or something. You can just type in the scores by hand if you want to do that. Let's say it wasn't even in Google Classroom. It was just like a participation or something like that. You can just type in the scores manually. But then if a student was absent, I apologize. So if you're going to let them make it up, you don't put a 0, you just leave it blank, and it's going to show up orange. And then if you are going to excuse them from the assignment, you type in NA. And this will show up when you have grading complete. So say, for example, you, for some reason you wanted to delete an assignment, you can also delete an assignment. You would just click on edit right here, and you can delete an assignment. It's on the very bottom. All right, so let's look at this. So I'm back into the gradebook that I just made. And what you do is, so say this was the assignment, I just put the assignment in, but you can see there's no scores. So right here underneath where the assignment is, you click on this little caret, it's what it's called, a caret, down arrow. And you can see that we have this button that says import from Google. So you can just click on that. So these are going to be the classrooms. So the Google Classrooms, you may not have this many pop up, but this teacher has. So click on your Google Classroom that it's associated with. And it generally takes a couple of seconds. And so then you go and find the assignment that you want. Once you pick that assignment that this is related to, you just click confirm, and it transfers everything over, your score. And again, you can just type in scores manually also. Go ahead and give that a try.
Carrie, thank you. I'm gonna have to go as
Okay.
well, but I'll probably rejoin you on Thursday.
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome.
I had a question for Monica. So you
Okay,
in the chat there that the assignment must be created before you can import grades. So did you mean that the assignment has to be created in the gradebook before you even make the assignment in Google?
No, just, so say you have your assignment in Google Classroom and the students have finished it and you graded it and you pushed it back to them graded. To import that into AERIES, the assignment has to be then created in AERIES before you can import.
Gotcha. Okay, I kind of misunderstood that yesterday.
Sorry
I thought
about that.
it had to be made in AERIES before you can make it in Google. But
No.
that's so much better.
Yeah, once you select what assignments you're ready to put into your gradebook, you would then just make the assignment.
Okay.
right, because generally you don't put everything into the grade book, so
Right.
Okay.
that's
Oh.
too much.
Well, you guys have helped me a lot. I've got started. I think I'm gonna sign off now too, but I may be back on Thursday too.
Well, there is a eval, Teresa. If you could do that, then we would
Oh,
appreciate
yes.
that.
Oh, okay. Where is that at?
It's on the screen, F3X. It's on the screen there.